Okay, so today we are doing a little bit of prep work for the radio drama that we're going to be putting on in Concordia, Kansas in a few weeks in October. And so what we're going to be doing is putting together a few sound effects that Tim has found online, and we have examples of, but we're going to be kind of making our own versions. So
exactly. I've got a bunch already that I've made in the past, but some of them either need improvement or just need a different design. So that's what we're going to do today.
And so from here we're off to the music store and then to the hardware store and hopefully to my dad's wood shop to do a little work.
That's right.
Let's go. We are going to get into the Gus Bus and go do Gus Bus things.
Well, technically Gus Bus 2.0.
That's right. Yeah, there was a previous version of Gus Bus. There was also a... heck, that's a story we'll tell another day.
Seriously, look at all this construction. So much construction, but hopefully the road will get done.
Yeah.
Bye, SM Hansen. Violin rosin acquired. Look at that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
We're heading into the hardware store here at Waters True Value. We're going to get some components for this Foley work. We'll see you around.
You may notice we are suddenly wearing different clothes and we have changed locales. Well, that is because we are in my dad's basement and we are here where things are made and we are going to make things.
That's true. This is where we're gonna actually work on making these Foley effects. It'll be really interesting to be able to. For me, it's been a while since I've been in a wood shop, so bear with me.
So, you know, we mentioned that we're down here creating a creaking sound, or a squeaker. And the reason for that is that we're trying to replace this squeaker that Tim built in the past. And this is a pretty cool design, I think. What it is there's a 2x4 here that they cut a notch out of the top and a hole. And then they put a dowel rod into that and they put some tension using this bolt. And basically what the assumption was is that the friction between the dowel rod and the 2x4 was going to create a squeak. So apparently when they first put this together it did work. But unfortunately over time the squeak just kind of went away, and I don't know if that's because of drying of the wood or what. We tried putting some rosin. Now we put base rosin, which base rosin is typically a lot stickier than violin rosin. It's less powdery, more gummy, and so I'm afraid all I achieved by doing that was lubricating the joint and basically taking all squeak out. So in addition there were some issues here where there's some cracking going on in this dowel rod, and this was a little bit weak. So that was kind of the start. Now we're going to try to do two different ideas to accomplish the same goal. So what are we going to work on first?
Well, I think the best way, let's start with the small one.
Good idea.
I think. So we'll start with the, we'll call it a squeak cup maybe.
Yep.
More
Squeak
or less,
cup.
so.
One squeak cup coming right up.
Alright. So first thing we're going to do is poke a hole in this here cup, and we're going to use an asp to do that. So just going to put that right in the middle here. So next we're going to go ahead and put the string, one end of the kite string here through. We have to wet it for a second.
That string is just a couple of feet long. We may have more than we need.
Possibly so.
Alright, so as he pulls that through, we're going to come over here and grab our button. I think we have a couple size buttons, but we're going to go with this guy. So what that button is going to do is that's going to increase the surface area of the string that is in contact with the top of the cup. In theory, what this will do is basically amplify the sound of the squeak.
I wasn't able to quite get it through there, but Gus was. So now we just need to tie that off.
Cut off our extra string.
There you go. That's pretty tight.
Alright, and we will grab some scissors real quick over here.
Alright.
Sneak by you.
Yeah, we'll cut it. We'll be cutting, so.
Just trim that off.
All right.
So now we can just pull through.
Perfect.
Ta-da!
Awesome. So now comes the rest of the fun part.
We're good.
All right. So now we got to do, well, we should probably cut this down a little bit. But before we do that, let's test and see how it's actually going to sound. So let's go ahead and grab our violin rosin here.
That should be plenty.
Let's see if this will work.
All right, Tim, what do we got?
Okay, so this is one version of making squeaks and creaks. I'm just going to call it the squeak cup, for lack of a better way to put it. It does work technically the way it's supposed to. As you can hear, some squeaks there. Not quite the squeak sound I was hoping for. There's a lot more reverb, and it just sounds like other things. So, I'm going to try and regroup here. We have another option, which we're going to work on, which is called the squeak box. And that's just simply just 4 2x4s with a dowel rod through the middle, handle over here, and some wool string attached to an eyelet down here. And we'll put that, there's tension on that eyelet, so when you're pulling the crank, it will make the squeaking sound. So we're going to try that and see if that works a little bit better.
All right. Okay, so I want to give you a very quick tutorial here on how to cut a 2x4. Now this is super easy. First we're going to measure. I know that I want my 2x4 length to be 12.5 inches. Make a couple marks. I'm going to bring in my speed square here. Ta-da! Alright, now I'm going to square up using my speed square again here. Got to plug this in. So again, I'm going to bring down my saw blade. What I'm going to do it on this side so you can see. I'm actually going to square it up using this speed square. And the benefit of this is that the markings on the saw are actually not all that helpful as far as getting things square. Okay, we'll pull in our material here. Excuse my reach. Need to get a level work surface. Now we should be wearing protective lenses. I'm going to say that my glasses are going to do it for today, and not everyone would agree with me that that's safe enough, which, sorry, I'm going to take the risk this time around. I'm going to give myself a little bit of tolerance here. I'm accounting for the width of the blade so that when we cut, we end up with a piece that's 12.5 inches rather than 12 3/8. Here we go. It's going to get real loud. Alright, so we have 1/4 of our rig cut here, and it is showing right at 12.5 inches. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat this process. Well, let's see, I'm cutting 4 boards out of 3 more times? 3 more times. Sorry, math is hard. And then we will have 4 of these with which we can connect and make our full square. So, give me a second. Alright, here we go. We have 4 perfectly flush boards here. Now we do have a couple boards here that are a little bit of a problem. We have a knot in this one, have another particularly nasty knot in that board, and we have 2 really nice clean boards. So what we're going to do is have to prioritize a little bit, figure out where we're going to put these knots. So I'm thinking that these will be the ones that we drill holes in for our big dowel rod. And I'm thinking this one, it's a worse knot, but it's actually off to one side. So this is probably where we're going to put our eye bolt through. And then this piece is going to be our top that actually has no holes in it other than the holes to hold it to the other boards. So from here, we'll get out our easy rig and drill some holes in these to attach them to each other. Always important to get your chips out of your jig. We already made some squeaks.
Yes, we did.
We didn't even have to finish making it, and it's already squeaking. Okay, got 2 done. Some of that sawdust in there. Alright, and 2 more to go. Alright, so we've got 4 2x4s, each with 2 holes in them. And now the trick becomes kind of laying these out and figuring out where we want things, and then we need to actually drill the hole that's going to hold our, well, first we're going to drill 2 holes. One for the eye bolt, 3 holes. One for the eye bolt and 2 for our large dowel rod that's going to connect across the width of the frame. So give us a little bit and we will be back in a moment. So what we are doing here is we're going to drill a hole through these 2 boards for this dowel rod to go through. This is a really dangerous thing, using a drill press and using big pieces of wood and a giant drill bit. You can get really badly hurt doing this, so just be very careful when you do. And one of the most important rules about this is making sure that you are secured to your workspace here. All right. Like a dream. Yay, okay. Well, the most stressful part of this is over, I hope. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and drill one more hole. This is the hole for our eye bolt to come through the bottom of the rig. Okay. I think that'll work. Alright, after a few missteps and forgotten details on my part, we have our frame all figured out. If you do decide to do a staggered frame like this, that actually, 4 pieces the same length will get you a square rather than a rectangle, be sure to remember to drill your holes in different spaces on your 2 boards. That was what kind of created our problem. But we got through that problem, and now we have a board that fits in here. And it's a little tight at times, but I think it's going to work just fine. So, especially considering we're going to be under tension when this is all done. So now, as I believe, let's see, we have kind of 2 things we need to do. We need to basically drill 3 holes in this board, 2 which will be for dowel rods to keep it held in its spot, and then the second, the third hole will be for our handle, so that people have something to grip. So that's one thing we need to do. The other thing is Tim is going to saw a handle out of this piece of all thread. So we will get that measured up and he will hack that down. So, plenty more to do. Okay, go slow. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so what we just did is we drilled a second of 3 holes into this thing. The first hole was one we drilled to put this capper on the end to prevent it all from sliding out that direction. Second thing we did was we drilled a little hole for a peg that will keep it from sliding out the other direction. And finally we put this larger hole in here for our all thread to go on, and that will be where we grab onto the handle to yank this thing. So let's take this over and fit it on the thing.
So here we've got the finished Creakbox. As you can see, not terribly too much of different, difficult engineering here. We've got 4 different 2x4s squared in put in a square pattern for the sake of stability. We've got the eye bolt here, which I've just loosened effectively. Let me retighten that a bit, if I can.
So that's what's giving this whole thing tension, is all the extra thread you see there at the top.
Alright. So, and this can be tightened to where you need it to be. But we've got these, we've got this, a bit of cotton rope here, tied around this is a 1¼ inch dowel rod. And if you zoom in here a little bit, you can see that we've got a small dowel here. This is what we mentioned earlier, so that it doesn't, you know, move too far here. On the opposite side, we've got a stopper. It's just a large washer, or a large couple washers, screwed into the end, just as works as a stop. And to give you the idea of exactly how it works, so this being our handle. Oh, and probably the most important piece that I haven't mentioned yet, we had to use a bit of violin rosin here. This really makes all the difference. Without it, you would not get as good of a squeak. So just to give you a demonstration here, but just that long creaking door. Super cool. This is going to make all the difference when we do, in the radio drama, at least 1 or 2 of them involve doors opening or like a squeaky door, especially for, I think it's Inner Sanctum, where it involves, it's part of the opening as they welcome you through the slow creaking door. So this is what's going to make all the difference for that. Alright, so that is what we've got. This is the this version of the Creakbox right here. I've been framed, as you can see. This is going to be great for us. Thanks for sticking around, having us here, hang with us in the shop. I'm super excited to get this stuff out there, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot. If you like this video and would like to see more of our crazy content, please like it below and possibly subscribe and check out our website and various other things. We have a lot of stuff coming. So
yes, we do.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.